tournaments, he was so dominant. Obviously, ShoWTimE's had that kind of dominant kind of playstyle for a while, but he hasn't had the results as of late, ShoWTimE. You know, finals in Leipzig, yes. But ShoWTimE's not had that unbeatable era, right? He's not had that, oh my god, I'm the one to beat, I'm unstoppable. He's one of the guys to beat, but he's not put himself like a level above that like pedestal on top of the rest, like Stefano did back in the day. Which is, I mean, it's very difficult to do that now, and I mean, that's no shame on ShoWTimE. It's not to hate on him or anything. I mean, for example, in 2017, it was not ShoWTimE's year. The dude went out in the group stages of pretty much every WCS tournament, and that's not what we expect from a player who's capable of winning these events. So, I really hope this year from ShoWTimE will be a lot more dominant. I really hope he gets to BlizzCon this year, because he's a fantastic player to watch. He's a lot of fun to watch. Round of 8 in BlizzCon 2016, of course, when he lost against the Laser. So yeah, crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. Bottom right hand side, our pink Zerg player. This is Stefano. And to the top left hand side, our blue Protoss player from Armor Team is ShoWTimE. Actually, kind of interesting that both of these players are on French teams, even though ShoWTimE is German. ShoWTimE was originally on Millennium, which was also a French team. They shut their esports division, but the Millennium esports team, or the StarCraft team, picked up by Armor Team instead. And they also have Daishi on their team. They previously had Marine Lord. And one more player I'd like to say. Actually, maybe not. Anyways, we're just going to be seeing the standard openers here for the next couple of moments, so nothing really too crazy to start talking about for the moment. What's up, Tempest.Gaming? Saying thanks for all the hard work, Wardy. Love the stream. Thanks so much for the kind words. It's always nice when you guys take a moment to come in and say something nice. Not that you have to, but it's always cool when a couple of people show up every now and then and like, hey man, I like the stream. And it's good to hear. Glad you guys are enjoying it. Glad you guys are enjoying today's action. Well, actually, so the last week or two we've been very focused on you know, through the day European events, but for the next week or two, we're actually pretty much primarily and only going to be casting in the European evening time. So we're pretty much going to be casting like EU evenings straight up and always, like, which is a bit of a change, so that's cool. It's just not a lot going on in the EU evening times in terms of other events, so for once we can actually run some events there. And let's see if that's going to be the case. Let's going to see how fun that's going to be as we see a couple of lings and a drone going to work their way on this pylon. Attack, nibble their way through this and try and break on in towards this third base location. There's Adept coming over as well. Drone gets blocked from building a hatchery. Wow, ShoWTimE. The pylon block bought him the time to get the Adept across here. Stefano loses the drone, and that's a huge delay on the third base now compared to when Stefano wanted to get this started. So definitely not a good start from Stefano, who's supply blocked because he's probably not expecting to have to spend his money on anything other than a hatchery just yet. Everything going a little bit wrong at the moment here. Everything just going a little bit awry. He will get a third hatch up to the right-hand side instead. Obviously, that wasn't quite his base of choice initially, which is still okay. I mean, he still gets the base up. Stefano, wow. He just has his third base seen by ShoWTimE just as the Adept shades away. What an amazing Adept from ShoWTimE. I mean, gets every single bit of info, denies the third base. An absolutely fantastic first couple of minutes of the game here from ShoWTimE. Really could not have been cleaner. As we are going to be seeing the Oracle coming across and is going to be looking for its first little bits and pieces of damage as well. At this stage, I mean, an Oracle coming in looking for a drone or two. The most important thing is to not get the Oracle too heavily damaged. You know, shield damage, okay, fine. Actual hull damage, that's when it starts to get a little bit sketchy, because the Oracle is, no, you don't just get an Oracle for Christmas, you get an Oracle for life. You know, this Oracle, it's meant to survive all game long. And some Oracle owners, they're not very nice people. They let their Oracles die early in the game. They sacrifice them for quick, you know, quick greed and to kill some drones. The reality is, to keep your Oracle alive is generally the better way to go, especially if you play just a single Oracle into a Phoenix, which means no second Oracle, which speeds up the building time of the Twilight Council and the Robo facility. It just means that now you have this Oracle alive because you want the vision, you want the revelation, you want to keep on scouting. And yes, you'll probably dive in and go for a drone here and there, but again, you're not going to try and take too much damage because you do not want this Oracle to be vulnerable throughout the mid-game. You do not want this to be picked off too easily. So Oracle has taken quite a few shots right there, as we are going to be seeing some lings coming up to the upper left-hand side. We have got a great idea of what ShoWTimE's going for. Again, that fast Twilight and Robo with the single Oracle means he's just going to go straight into the Archon drops. There's the Temple Archives to be able to morph in Archons. And ShoWTimE going to do this while setting up his third base, the typical pylon position here for the Nexus, so that he has a little bit of a gap to kind of shove a couple of units in case the Lings try and surround and get something done. These Lings will just not see the Warp Prism, but these Lings will. So seeing the Warp Prism now, Stefano knows that this is probably coming in, as we are going to be seeing this Prism coming down to the south side. Few High Templar warp in, 2 Archons morph, there's the charge follow-up as well as we expect to see, and the Forge too, so obviously ShoWTimE is definitely a macro-focused player, and this is definitely a macro-focused setup where he's not looking to be too aggressive with these, with the Archons and Zealots, but he is looking to get into that later in the game with upgrades, because that's generally what's very powerful. This run-by is very kind of something you don't see ShoWTimE letting happen too often, as you actually see some Roaches going to counterattack as those Archons come in. Well, this gets very interesting because there is Roaches to defend as well, but what is there actually to defend against the Roaches moving across the map? Well, honestly, at the moment, nothing at all. And these first couple of gateways are going to take some shots. Units start moving over. Stefano here with the Roach speed and the Roach production on just 43 workers. He cut workers to get this going. How does ShoWTimE hold this? Well, he starts to Chrono Boost out an Immortal. Obviously, that will go a huge way to helping out. He brings the Archons back home as well, I imagine. I don't know where the Warp Prism is right now. No! He lost the Warp Prism with the Archons inside. I'm not even sure when that happened, but that's huge because that's 2 less Archons to help fight here. That must have happened to these Queens over towards the Natural. I really thought he'd gotten away, though. But everything falls apart so quickly, and suddenly here from ShoWTimE is Stefano is breaking through the third base. He's breaking through the Natural. The main base is somewhere where, okay, he's going to be able to clean up, but ShoWTimE is in a lot of trouble, and he knows it. GG. Let's just see how that Warp Prism died. Here? No, that's the Phoenix. Wow, it died before now? Oh, it's on the right-hand side, maybe? Where is it? Over here? Okay, let's just quickly see how the Warp Prism died. Goes in, harasses. He just dies to Queens. Wow, that's very unlike ShoWTimE. On a map that's a little bit easier for him to defend on generally. I mean, this is a map which has the 3 bases, very easy to take. Roach attacks can still bust through a Natural, but in general, you should be able to just have a bit more time to prepare as well. And I mean, there's a lot of things ShoWTimE can fix to make sure an attack like that doesn't kill him a second time around here. So, to the bottom right-hand side, it is going to be the blue Protoss player. It is going to be from Armor Team. It's ShoWTimE. Down a game. Let's see if he can bounce back. I did all of this intro without putting the score on. I'm a little bit slow, as we do have. To the top left-hand side, the pink Zerg is Stefano from Gamer's Origin. Hatchery onto the Natural, we get this set to go. Gateway on the way up at the front, and obviously the probe comes across to have a little bit of a scout. Let's see how this will turn out. I do wonder how this second game might go. Stefano obviously very aggressive with Roaches in game 1. I wonder if he just goes a little bit cheekier here this time in game 2. Maybe something like a Nidus attack could be very successful. Maybe just play straight up macro, but boy, if there was ever a map I didn't want to play macro on against ShoWTimE, it'd probably be Backwater, because this is a map where, again, he has a Natural up, and this entry to the Natural is the entry to the third base. So you get 3 bases, then to defend all 3 of these and to defend the 4th, you barely even have to move forwards. So it's a very simple 4 bases. The 5th base is very set back and down a ramp as well. Like, this map is just base heaven. And as you get base heaven going your way, as a Protoss player, it's great for Zerg too, but as a Protoss you just sit back and you get up to carriers. What does a Zerg do about that? Very, very difficult. As we are just going to be seeing the Overlord coming down towards the lower right-hand side of Stefano, looking to see what's going on, as we are going to be having a couple of Queens just coming on through. Just a couple of Queens coming out. Ling speed starts up from Stefano as well. And we are just having him with his very own standard opening. This time there shouldn't be a block on the third base, right? I mean, there should be no delay there at all. And you can see the difference from ShoWTimE is that he doesn't even build an Adept. He's instead going to be starting up a Stalker. So he gets a Stalker out, and Adept will start behind this. The Stalker coming in towards the main base. And we are just going to be having the Overlord taking some shots here. So Overlord taking some damage, and will get taken down. We'll see, that's the whole idea of the Stalker, to come in and deny this scout, at least shut it down quickly. I wonder what happens with the Stargate. I mean, generally a Stargate isn't something you cancel and rebuild something else if it gets seen. You're kind of happy for it to be seen, but it does probably mean Oracle first. There's no reason to build a Phoenix when the Overlord's already been killed. Yes, there's maybe a reason to build a Phoenix after the Oracle, because you can hunt down further Overlords, but for now, just the Oracle will make a lot of sense, and that's exactly what ShoWTimE goes into. Well, this Adept continue to come over to the left-hand side, and we are just going to be having the Queen. Going to be able to push back the initial Adept, which is just scouting for the third hatchery, just getting the information here early on. Oracle is being chrono boosted out right now from ShoWTimE, so it's a second Oracle straight away. Again, no need for Phoenix at all super early if you do shut down that Overlord with a Stalker, so it's a nice way to change things up. It does change the build slightly. Again, it's a similar idea moving forwards, and as a second gate comes through, I think we're about to see Twilight Council and a Robo Facility dropping down. There's no real reason for this to go in any other way. I'm just going to be seeing the Oracle turned around so quickly, though. Dove for one single worker. Again, a little bit of shield bit of damage past the shields. There is the Phoenix on the way out now, so he will still build up the Phoenix. And there's the Robo Facility. And maybe the Twilight Council as well in a moment or two. Maybe the Twilight Council as well in a moment or two. Let's have a look here. And as we do see there, it is Twilight Council popping down the main base. And the Forge going to come down in the main base too. So, sign up into the ShoWTimE is really building up quite nicely at the moment. Going to see another pylon coming down towards this assimilator. A couple of drones go down as the Oracles come in. They get some nice damage done, but one of the Oracles is low somehow. Oh, no way! That Queen on the south side could reach? That's insane. The Queen on the south reaching over, killing that Oracle. Didn't think that was going to happen. I thought this was an Oracle that was escaping on like 1 HP or so, but could not have been more wrong. Okay, well, still one Oracle up, so in terms of revelations, he's still going to have the vision. But it'd be nice to keep the two because they can dive into bases and grab a drone or two very easily. I mean, obviously, so far, Stefano defended this very well, but yeah, otherwise, it's definitely something you can continue to do. So it is a shame to lose the second Oracle. Less revelations as well in case you screw one up. And it's also something that kind of adds up and matters a bit. +1 melee, Hydra speed now on the way. No Baneling Nest though, so this is Ling Hydra for the moment. Can you bust on with Ling Hydra here on Backwater? Well, Stefano has 50 workers. And he is making a few Hydras, but then he has some more drones. So he's not just pure units at the moment. Just going to be seeing 4 more gates on the way up, and you do just have charge and +1 from ShoWTimE. The kind of the very standard follow-up here coming through in the next couple of moments. So ShoWTimE sets up. Obviously, he wants to just keep on kind of poking and prodding. He wants to keep up getting information. He wants to be able to get to a point where he's comfortable that Stefano is not going to be able to kind of do too much here. As we do see the High Templars actually being forced back, just saved here by the War Prism. Now morphing into Archons. That's a nice catch by Stefano, however. That's a nice catch, but it didn't actually get any of these Archons low or kill. Now those Lingers start to take some shots, but he does know it's coming, so mentally he can begin to prepare. He can think, okay, well, Archon drops, let's get into position. Phoenix actually sees these few Hydras on the top side, and the Prism is going to go back over to the left now, and I have to say, I kind of like the creep spread. Pushing forwards very aggressively makes it difficult for ShoWTimE to really put himself in a spot here where he's going to be able to, really kind of push forwards without Stefano seeing him. 10 gates from ShoWTimE. It's an all-in, essentially, off of these 3 bases. I mean, if it doesn't work, he's at least got an economy to fall back towards, but and he's on +2 attack as well, but he's very committed with this. You know, he did warp in Zealoty at the front. He is pushing forwards. 10 gateways is more than usual. Usually see about 8 gates and maybe, Immortal production starting. And that's the biggest difference of all. No Immortals on the way means that, again, you're definitely looking to win this right now rather than going later into the game, where Immortals are almost a necessity in higher numbers. And the thing about Immortals is you can't just suddenly get 10 Immortals. You have to start building those Immortals up from an earlier stage. So, if you decide not to build them now, that is one deficit you'll have later on, even if you do have free base economy, even if you do have the +2 attack upgrade started. ShoWTimE with a little bit of lag here. As Stefano, I mean, what a time for lag, right? Because it gives Stefano an absolute mountain amount of time to think about how he's going to try and deal with this attack. You see Zealots starting to clean up a little bit of the creep spread initially as an observer's here with this army. It's a lot of Ling Hydra, and he is going to use some Evo Chambers to try and wall off. Baneling's on the way through. The Bayonet's just finished, by the way. I would like to see another few High Templar, and I think we will see High Templar maybe warping in once again after the next warp in. Although actually not if he goes into the main base, of course, because he doesn't want this Warp Prism to not be able to evacuate all the Archons. That would be a bit of a waste. So ShoWTimE sets up now into the Storm, into the Immortal production. He's decided not to attack. Maybe he just feels as though he's happy with how much he's forced out of Stefano already, content with being able to just pull back a little bit now, back towards the bottom right-hand side. Warp Prism coming through the top, and we are going to be seeing ShoWTimE all the way back towards the bottom right, and we are going to be having the, well, the counter-attack here, I guess. The Lingbane Hydra, he forced these units out. Now he has to defend it. And the Storm about to finish though, and that makes it such an easier job to deal with the Lingbane Hydra, and especially slow Banes. If they're in a Storm, they're going down. There's no two ways about it. They only have 30 health, guys. Like, they are going to take some real ticks of damage. They're going to go down so quickly. And without Bane speed, they just don't roll through fast enough to get out of the Storm in time. Well, there's the first Storm, and we are going to be seeing the first couple of Banes taking some hits. Some Zealots. Need to be careful about how they charge forwards. I mean, a couple charging in, tanking some Banes is fine. But you don't want your entire set of Zealots to charge forwards and just be clumped up going in towards those Banelings. If you see a couple more Archons introduced into play. The Archons in particular are very good in this sort of scenario because they do tank a lot of the Baneling damage. It's one of the reasons you want Immortals in the army as well against Lingbane Hydra, because they're just so tanky. They'll survive until the end of the fight, and then they'll be able to get a lot more done, as we do see. Well, a Baneling coming forward soon. We are going to be seeing one Archon picked off. Stefano still trying to do a little bit more, and we are going to be seeing another couple of Storms coming down. Very nicely done. ShoWTimE absolutely destroys this force of Stefano, and Stefano's just going to get pushed away as he tries to get up in towards Hive Tech with the Spire, looking towards Broodlords here eventually, but I don't know if ShoWTimE gives him the opportunity. Moving across the map, I think ShoWTimE might just continue to go across, and yes, he had to cancel his 4th base. He rebuilds it now, but I really think as though this build, which started out as a very kind of heavy pressured scenario, he's now going to be able to utilize all those gateways he already has up, and now he's got Storm in. This was very well played by ShoWTimE. Didn't commit earlier and he didn't think he could get the damage done. Comes back home, Stefano attacks into him and he just completely flops. And now, ShoWTimE on the aggressive. 30 army supply ahead. We're going to be seeing a Storm coming through, and well, some Banes are starting to move towards the High Templar, but the Archons get the job done in terms of cleaning up a little bit, and well, again, more Storms are available, right? And as those Hydras start to take some Storm hits, they really just become so weakened, and now the Immortals just kind of tap through them in 1 or 2 hits. It's kind of amazing how quickly those Hydras will start to fall here. That's messy though for ShoWTimE. Letting these Zealots continue to run in towards the Banelings. Wow! ShoWTimE messed up here. That was really messy. I mean, multiple times over, those Zealots were running in towards the Banelings. That was really painful. I mean, wow. If he kept the Zealots in the back, let the Archons tank, but then if the Archons try and tank, maybe the Hydra's able to pick them off. It's more easily said than done. These fights are very difficult to control. ShoWTimE, I really thought he had that there in that moment, but no, he doesn't. And now he's pushed away, backed away, having to wait to see what happens next. Greatest Spire on the way up in the main base. We see a 5th base on the way down once again from Stefano. This is something that ShoWTimE did just deny. So by denying the 5th base, he gets himself into that position where he can potentially just go again. New High Templars on the way up. We do see this time the Warp Prism coming through the top side. Where's it rallied to? It is rallied to just behind the 5th, but we'll see if he actually drops off here or if he's going to push in towards the main. Big Warp in the main. I mean, you kill off the Greatest Spire, that would be huge. Kill the Hive, that would be amazing. Way to slow down the tech and just to pin Stefano on mid-game units for a lot longer. But it looks as though he is going to go for that. Yeah, at the same time, then you can maybe push forwards more with this army. Whether he wants to push too far into creep or not, you can at least clean up creep, but Corruptors actually come out to turn the Warp Prism away. Seeing the Corruptors does mean, like, hello, there is a Greater Spire probably coming in, because why else would you build Corruptors against a Mortal Archon? So ShoWTimE kind of knows what's up. Can he hit a pre-Broodlord timing? He doesn't really need to. 2 more Stargates on the way through. And with the extra Stargates, he does have a fleet beacon up, and we are going to be seeing the Tempest production starting out here. So he's going in towards his air units. You know, even if it's Tempest from now then into carriers, it's a powerful army he begins to build towards. And as he builds towards that army, the army of ShoWTimE is going to have to be very, very cautious about, you know, just making sure he doesn't die to Stefano, make sure he has stuff out in time for the Brutes. But once he's there, Stefano is the one who has to then take into consideration, well, okay, you've got air units, and that's very powerful against what I've got. And it's going to become this very slow and grindy game where it's not going to be decided by one big fight. It's going to be decided by who controls better over multiple engagements, which aren't really kind of proper engagements usually. Usually they're kind of like, oh look, we're going to, you know, pop at each other. If I abduct versus a storm, there's a feedback that goes down on something. You know, it's not going to be big fights. Obviously, the thing with the Tempest is that you can maybe force a fight a little bit better as a Protoss player, but still in general the Zerg should have ways like Vipers to kind of pull those Tempests in and maybe abduct them through to kind of, you know, a group of Hydras, which will then just take it down. So we'll see how this is going to go. As you do see, ShoWTimE for the moment is just gathering up on the south side. I mean, this is the power of Backwater. We mentioned earlier just how easy it is to take all of these maps, all of these bases on this map. And look at this, 5th base, and all he has to do is hold the watchtower for it. And he's just in front of his 4th base too. The 3rd base entrance is still not far away. So easy to go up to the 5 bases here, and that's just the real power play of ShoWTimE at the moment. Love the fact he replaced the Warp Prism immediately. As soon as that went down, he got a new one onto the map. And that's very important because without the Warp Prism, it's much more difficult for something to be done. So, you know, it really allows him to keep the pressure up. It keeps Stefano pulled back. Honestly, sometimes a warping of 10 Zealots can actually make a difference where you actually pull an entire army out of an aggressive posture, because it actually takes so many Zerg units to deal with Zealots effectively. You actually have to pull a good chunk back, and once you pull a good chunk back, suddenly the Zerg is like, well, okay, I don't want to fight, especially if I'm going home to deal with that. If I have to pay attention fully to this fight, that's not going to happen if I'm already kind of at home dealing with Zealots running around my bases, targeting down my tech structures. It was amazing, by the way, that Stefano had those Corruptors to push the Prism away initially. If he didn't, that Great Aspire could not be here right now, and this would be ShoWTimE, who'd just be kind of laughing and rolling his way through this game, because the Broodlords are the one thing that's made this army of Stefano so much more different, so much scarier than what it was previously. First few Zealots don't get a lot done. All these Overlords around the edges of the map, by the way. I'd love to see maybe a Tempest is too expensive, but just a Void Ray, a Phoenix, or something, just working its way through all of these Overlords, because goddamn, they are not really meant to be up in these sort of numbers and just with this much vision. That's absolutely crazy. Even if they run away because of Nubater's Carapace, it's still nice. If it, you know, it would still be nice to just stop Stefano from seeing every single edge of the map, so that Warp Prism could maybe actually get something done for once. 15 minutes in, and as we see some extra Spore Crawlers coming down again, we are in this position where we're really going late on into this now. Some Infest is actually in a very vulnerable spot for the Tempest, but the Tempest don't have the vision, so they don't have the reach to actually use the entirety of their range. And as the Seedlings try and counterattack into this base, the double Archon and Cannon Shield battery setup is more than enough. It's going to take a much more committed attack from Stefano there to push on through into that south side. Lings and a couple of Banes coming through. Another Zealot cleaned out. So Revelation on the front here. As we're not going to be seeing again those Tempests are picking their way through a couple of Creep Tumors. One Fest is just popping out. A few more Carriers coming into play as well. There's the Warp Prism with the 2 Immortals inside. Going to come all the way around the right hand side. And he's building up the Carriers also. Slowly but surely, Stefano is slowly building up his own kind of anti-air army where he's getting himself, you know, the upgrades, he's getting Corruptors, he's getting the Vipers. He's building up here. You can see that he's setting up a bit of a Dropper Lord experience over here, and that's kind of cool because at this stage of the game, he generally will want to trade out some of his units like Hydras and so on, or Banelings even. That just, you don't need them in this high number anymore if you're going up against an air army of the Protoss player. You see, ShoWTimE is a similar idea. He doesn't really want these Immortals in his army anymore, so he tries to spin around the map and get something done with them. He finds a Queen, but for 5 Immortals, usually he finds so much more. Usually they can pick off a good couple of, you know, maybe a base, maybe they get a few drones at the very least. This is a very good catch of Stefano, and it's just because of how much map control he has. There's no way for those Immortals to get anywhere on the map without just straight up being seen. Again, it's not too bad that ShoWTimE is losing out on those Immortals, because he wants to lose them. There's a reason he sent them across the map. He needs to clean up supply for more Carriers, and, you know, same here. Stefano, this wasn't really a great drop, but he wants to clean up more supply for higher tech units, and that choice is going to be Infestors, now coming out in the natural expansion. So, 14 more Infestors, wow, I mean, we're getting into the depths of this PvZ at the moment. We're really going to dive in towards the late stages, so this is starting to go the distance, and if we had to pick a winner right now, I don't really want to. I kind of like ShoWTimE's spot. I always feel for Zerg, it's so difficult to deal with this Sky army. But Stefano definitely has the setup to begin dealing with it at the very least, if not start dealing with it entirely. So Stefano keeps on setting up well as we see a few more carriers just about to pop out here, and as a few more carriers pop out, upgrades will continue through for ShoWTimE's air army. He's got double Cybercore, Corona boosting away, a couple more cannons to deal with again, another couple of potential run-bys in the next few minutes. Say, ShoWTimE's army over here looks kind of small. 3 Tempests, 3 carriers, and a few High Templar, a couple Archons. Looks very vulnerable. Obviously, another few carriers are arriving very soon. Just needs to make sure he doesn't take a fight with just this part of his army, because that could be a disaster waiting to happen. Lone Zealot makes it back home in the War Prism. And very hard to get anything done with the War Prism when Stefano just has so much map vision. You see so much of this map, even kind of positions over here of these changelings now, which are like, you know, within the bases, between the bases of ShoWTimE. Small counterattack up here. 3 Zealots trying to hit a base, but again, the Lincoln should be good enough to fight against it. And I mean, we're at that stage where the melee upgrades are +3, the adrenal glands is in play, so those Lings are absolute monsters. They tear through absolutely anything that comes in their path. They do not care what it tastes like. They don't care how chewy it is. It's gonna die. Lings still moving around here as you see another couple of carriers on the way up. +2 air armor is now about to finish. +1 ground weapons coming through as well, and we are going to be seeing these couple of Archons continuing to work their way through this hatchery. So hatchery is going to get taken down in the next couple of moments. Looks as though ShoWTimE's even kind of giving up the Archons now, you know. 2 Archons for a hatchery. Doesn't seem like a great trade, but honestly at this stage it is, because again, he wants the supply free to make more carriers. Both these players have massive banks, and this is a very typical backwater move where you attack into this base here. It's very difficult for the Zerg to fight because the Zerg will rely somewhat on a ground army, and the ground army can't really engage if your air army is over this dead airspace. So ShoWTimE though plays it very carefully and actually begins to pull back a little bit, seeing that the Zerg armies continue to pressure forwards. A lot of Spore Crawlers moving into position and makes it a lot more difficult suddenly for ShoWTimE to take an engagement. Obviously those interceptors are very typical to kind of clump up together, and that's exactly what those infestors are waiting for. It's a nice revelation. Now the Tempest can pick away from a distance, right? So that's a big little something that actually is kind of important here. ShoWTimE's moving across the map though. Is he just going to try and force the Zerg army back? At the moment it's waiting. A couple of Brutalers will stick around and continue to fight through. But ShoWTimE's going to go straight across. He's going to hit these bases, and obviously ShoWTimE has a recall, so by pulling away here, it's okay for him because he can recall home and, you know, deal damage and then leave whenever he wants to. I'm just going to be seeing those interceptors picking off the first few spores. This base is going to go down, but what was even left here? 600 minerals and a couple of extra patches with 30 apiece on them. The gases, you know, the extractors were mined out, so there's no real reason to have the, you know, the gas mining here. He's got 500 gas left to mine on this base, which is a bit of gas, but at the moment it's not like Stefano is worried about gas because there's this base up here which is just going to be completely okay. Overlord to the left side gets taken down. Pushing forwards, Broodlords are dropping, and we are going to be seeing a couple of these gateways are being picked away at, and well, ShoWTimE already lost this base actually because these Broodlords have just been over here for so long. There's the recall back, and now ShoWTimE's going to try and move in to maybe fight this. But there's still the infestors which are going to make his life so difficult. 8k, 5k in the bank. Stefano is in a position where he can rebuild. And what's amazing is that he's going to trade on ShoWTimE's side of the map. By trading on ShoWTimE's side of the map, it means that Stefano is going to have a lot of time to rebuild at home and gather units together before ShoWTimE can move across for a counterattack. It's actually a very important part. ShoWTimE would generally prefer to attack on Stefano's side, but obviously he's not able to make that happen. As we are going to see those infested Terrans dropping down, fighting against those interceptors, a couple of fungal growths to help. There's a huge bank on both sides of this to break through. As we're going to see infestors are looking for fungals whenever they can. The Tempests getting to work here. The carriers coming back in. Feedbacks on the infestors as well. Few Broodlings are still breaking their way through the natural expansion here. Continue to pressure forwards. What's on the ground in this army? Not even High Templars anymore. What's on the map? In the unit tab, 2 Archons, 6 High Templars. Still, well, those High Templar. They are under the army now. ShoWTimE again moves to the left-hand side. It's going to force Stefano to reconsider where he's going to engage from. So you're going to see this entire army with a lot of infestors coming through the top side here. Getting ready to go again, and we are just going to be seeing another few infested Terrans just dropping down. A few probes going down over here. A little bit of a run by of the last few Lings, Banes, and Hydras. That really is like the last of the Ling, Banes, and Hydras. Everything else now is Corruptors, Infestors, and Broods. A Lone Viper joins this army as well. But here's ShoWTimE across the map in a position where, again, he's going to force the Zerg to come back and defend, because if he doesn't come back to defend, eventually ShoWTimE just sort of, kills everything. The recall actually misses out on a couple of the Void Rays. This time it's the Mothership recall. Ooh, that's cute. So it has a couple of different ways to recall here. Now this army gathers up together, and because he's pulled his opponent out of position, he can engage into the Spores. Cute moves by ShoWTimE. Really nice kind of just ways to enable him to start engaging into some of the static defense without the army being here, because he's just pulling Stefano around the map. Both players, by the way, have every base here on backwater. ShoWTimE controlling the entire south side of the map. Stefano controlling the entire top side. So in terms of resources lost, if they stay even, they are both going to mine out evenly. It could come down to just one final army. A lot of infested Terrans coming down once again. The Tempest gets abducted in. These Corruptors are going to try and dive in for the... They should target the carriers, the Corruptors, not the Interceptors. Although the Interceptors are going huge right now. Fungal Growths are coming down. Helps out a lot. Infested Terrans coming back. The Interceptors killing my FPS at the moment. That's fun as well. A couple of these Broodlings will also get taken down. And we do see... A few Zealots are going to get shut down as well at the end here. So, when a few Zealots getting shut down, Zealots charging in will be able to shut down those Lings. 9 more Infestors on their way out. 50 Zerglings. Stefano probably knows that playing such a gas-heavy comp like Infestors, he's very likely to run out of gas first and then, minerals later. So by mixing in some mineral units already, he's going to be able to get some value out of those, rather than later in the game when he only has minerals left, suddenly he's remaxed on Zerglings against an army. At least right now, those Zerglings can run around, kill off bases and other bits and pieces. The Infestors walk into a death trap here as ShoWTimE makes some very easy pickoffs. That's 8 Infestors going down for absolute free. The Lings will cause chaos over here. Single Zealot warping in will not be enough to answer it. Broodlords on the way back up. The Infestors are actually very low on energy. And ShoWTimE has another recall available. This time it'll be on his Nexus. It's been a while since the Nexus recall happened, so it'll definitely be off cooldown. It'll definitely be something you can use now to re-engage. As we do see High Templar coming forward. Revelation, feedbacks galore. Although those couple of High Templar now are going to get taken down. They are now going to fall, and we are going to be seeing carriers moving in towards the main base. Just going to hit this infestation pit. Newer Parasite denied. Infested production denied. Hive Tech denied. Everything going a little bit wrong right now for Stefano, as he just can't deal with this movement of the carriers in around his bases. Everything is going down here. The Spire will be next. It dies in a couple of seconds. Spawning Pool is the last thing remaining up here, and Stefano gets some more Lings on the way at least. He actually storms this group of eggs, which he'll continue to fight with the Interceptors to cancel as many units as possible. Revelation, he knows where the rest of that army is. He knows it's waiting for him. Does he just take the recall now while he can, or does he feel as though he can fight his way out of this? He might feel like he can fight his way out. It's so Infestor heavy that if he moves through the top side, it's dead airspace again, and he can hit this base as well from the dead airspace to back into. Meanwhile, a whole ton of Zealots from ShoWTimE going to move up the right-hand side. Again, the last few moments, the resource losses tilted heavily into ShoWTimE's favor by about 5,000 or so. As Lings run in to deal with these Zealots, again, the Lings are well upgraded, but the Zealots just trade so well. As we are going to be seeing, well, there's the Fungal Growths hitting a lot of the Interceptors. They're slow then to hit their next target. A couple of Broodlords going down. ShoWTimE has the minerals to rebuild the Interceptors for the moment, but he does take some time to do that now. As we are going to be seeing, the Zealots are going to be cleaned up by the Spine Cores in the top right, as well as a couple of helping Zerglings. Hey, can I just say that backwater? It's just me. In the middle of the map, it looks like a bit of an evil face. Maybe not, actually. At a glance it did, but now I look at it more, I don't know. Anyways, we are going to be seeing the Corruptors coming in. They actually get the Mothership. They're going to go for some of these carriers. Honestly, the Interceptor count's kind of low for the moment. ShoWTimE is starting to run it low on minerals. I mean, I say low, he's got 3,000 in the bank, but it's not quite the, 8,000, 5,000, whatever it was he had before. Diving in here, we still see this arm on the south side, just ready to run by into another base, perhaps. This consistent fight. We're 27 minutes into game number 2 of this series, by the way. And we will have, if ShoWTimE wins this, a game free to play and a grand final matchup still to come as well. It's going to be seeing those Interceptors again. Fungal Growth once more. Corruptors coming through, and we are going to be seeing the Interceptors again taking so much damage here. Zealots and Archons back around the right side. Hive Tech on the way up from Stefano. It's a nice neural parasite over here, but even still, one of the infestors goes down, another of the infestors targeted goes down as well. So this is just Stefano bleeding off units, which should be much better positioned in this fight up here. And then at least the Lings, oh my god, he's not even going to kill those two Archons. Oh, that's such a shame. Well, ShoWTimE continues to sit in this position. He's going to try and hit this base once again from the dead air, as we talked about previously. This Oracle throwing down the Revelations to give him the vision needed. We are going to be seeing a nice kill on the upcoming Hive. Interceptors are trying to join the fight once again. Cryptors diving in. I have to say, the Cryptors are getting a lot of damage done every time here. You know, they're killing off a few of the carriers, but it's just not enough of them to really make it work out properly. At this stage, you kind of need, like, I think you really just need to kind of kill the Interceptors and then go in with the Corruptors, maybe. Or maybe even just more Corruptor production in general. Infestors are fungal growth and Interceptors when they can. The banks of both players are getting lower and lower. He neural parasites one of these carriers, pulls it into the army, and that's nice. It's something that's actually required, you know, something that will guarantee an carrier kill now. He gets one, he'll get two. So 2 carriers will go down here. Stefano's just bleeding out units though. He's got a bank, but he doesn't even have the lava to kind of rebuild with anymore, because he's just lost so many hatcheries. He's not been injected either. And it looks as though Stefano is really starting to run into a whole world of trouble now. This has been a long, hard-fought game. It's not easy to fight against ShoWTimE on backorder. We said it at the very start. But this is really now just getting crazy. Pushing in another couple of small crawlers are going to get taken down here. And Overlord as well. A lot of damage dealt by ShoWTimE. The top left side where the base of the Zerg started are now no longer existing at all. A little bit of creep from where the 4th base used to be is the start of the Zerg's existence on the map. And Stefano has migrated to the upper right hand corner here on backorder. Another extractor picked off. I mean, it was mined out anyway, so I mean, again, losing this base wasn't a big deal for Stefano. I wonder if it would have been better for him to give up this base sooner and just move into the upper right where he can defend on ground. But now Stefano has no minerals left, and he doesn't have that many minerals left in the game. He has, I guess, a few thousand. Gas count running low. ShoWTimE's gas bank is looking incredible right now. Also has bottom left to mine from in terms of mineral income. I mean, Stefano needs a fight right now, which doesn't just win him the game, but wins the fight. I mean, it doesn't just win him the fight, as you should say, rather, but wins him the fight convincingly, because then he can maybe counterattack to win the game, stop the carriers from rebuilding. But if he just trades off another couple units at a time, his bank is depleting faster than ShoWTimE's, and so that ShoWTimE in the long term will win this one out with the carrier play and all the rest of it. Army moving through the center of the map. ShoWTimE is just in this sort of position where, you know, his army's just insane. 9,950 minerals and 9,050 gas in Stefano's army, which is also pretty large. Against 9k, 7k. Well, he finds some really good neuroparasites here. Fungal growths as well to keep a high temple and some Zealots at bay. And this actually went really well as those Archons kind of went in the wrong direction for a moment or two, though. Lings will run in and clean out. Honestly, he needs to be careful with the Lings, because now Stefano is struggling on minerals, remember. He has some mineral income, but not a lot of it. That's a nice little cleanup, but he lost some infestors in the process as well, because the feedbacks came down. Top side of Changeling gets cleaned out. Still, this entire army of the Zerg player has to be so very careful. We will see one of these Oracles gets picked away, and now we're going to be seeing Carriers and Tempests. High Templar as well. Still just kind of sticking around on this area which has no kind of ground to work with, so that Stefano can't just run in for the ground units to kind of join the fight. And I guess behind this space is going to be such a similar scenario to what we've seen previously. Yeah, that's why Stefano's given up this base already. Just moves his drones away because he knows it's probably the next sort of logical conclusion as to what you should do now as the Protoss player in terms of base you should try and attack into. This is cheeky. ShoWTimE takes this base over here. Will gain some minerals back from it, but most importantly gets this gas going, which is a little bit of extra gas for him to work with. It's just something else that Stefano doesn't have. Is he's going to ask for a quick second. Quick break here, quick pause in the game. Earlier ShoWTimE had a pause because of lag. Now Stefano with a quick pause. And it looks as though we're resuming nice and quickly. ShoWTimE in complete control of game number 2 in a series which he's 0-1 down in. He's looking to tie it up 1-1. Head us into a game number 3, at which point we will then go into, after game 3, a finals between the winner of this series and Guru. And who even knows how those games could go with the way that this PvZ is going. If ShoWTimE makes it to the finals, then God, we could be here for quite a while today with the GO4SC2, which is cool to see. Bit of a longer tournament than usual. I think just because the one side of the bracket got caught up early, fell a little bit behind. One of those moments of the game where neither player really has much to add. Against the Corruptors. Infestors. I mean, we've already said what these armies look like. We already know what the sort of scenario is. Stefano is bleeding out. And it almost feels as though Stefano's the one who has to press the issue rather than just sitting back defensively. I guess the issue is he doesn't feel like he can win the fight if he plays aggressively. So then he has to play slowly, but if he plays slowly, then ShoWTimE just takes a fight, backs away, rebuilds, goes in, backs away, rebuilds. He just slowly chips away here. 35 minutes in. Game number 2. ShoWTimE in control. Then counterattack finds this base of ShoWTimE in this bottom corner. He'll get himself some probes and, well, he actually mined like 200 of the gas that was here, which is kind of nice. DT will warp in to clean it up and the Lings will be pushed away. Yeah, it's an annoying base to have to deal with. Having to kill your own third base location is kind of a little bit silly. "38 infestors." Crazy, crazy numbers here as we are going to be seeing. Carriers have actually found their way into the top right base, and Stefano is just going to lose it. His army out of location. ShoWTimE finds himself that quick little fight and doesn't even take any damage at all. Doesn't even lose an interceptor. And Stefano's hurting now. It's another 300 minerals, which now he has to spend on another hatchery rather than, you know, potentially putting into his army here. He doesn't have those sort of minerals to spare anymore. Down 9,000 resources lost in the game. ShoWTimE himself is starting to, again, obviously mine out, right? So it's getting troubling for ShoWTimE. It's getting to that rough stage. Having this base over here is actually surprisingly useful because it's just a bit of resources that ShoWTimE will take over Stefano if they did trade evenly. And that's Stefano's issue. He doesn't have income advantage over ShoWTimE. He hasn't mined for more bases, and so being down resources lost just means he's going to run out of money, which is exactly what we're seeing. ShoWTimE still has a 6k, 7k bank in play at the moment. And so, again, after any fight, ShoWTimE can rebuild. The only fight that ShoWTimE can't rebuild from is the fight that goes so well for Stefano that he can instantly move across the map and counterattack and stop production. You know, if you can stop the carriers or whatever it is that gets built reproducing, that is when you can maybe win this Stefano. But you have to take one hell of a fight here. And so far, that one hell of a fight is not showing up. Another Corruptor 2 coming in, diving in, finding some damage every now and then. Carriers around the side, and we are just waiting for really a conclusion to this game. A conclusion which I think we see coming, honestly. I think we see that ShoWTimE will take this one in somewhere near the near future. Just waiting for it to truly happen. Some probes attacking on towards the Spore Crawler here, and we are going to see them getting cleaned up just a little bit. Top right side, that base gets denied again. I mean, there's probes mine out over here. ShoWTimE just kind of gives them up. He's like long distance mining the last few minerals that are up in this position. He's got some Archons to defend them. It's so ridiculous. We do see Brutalord getting taken down once again. Fungal Growths are good, I have to say. He is getting rid of a lot of interceptors with these over time. And as the interceptors go down, it does put ShoWTimE in a position where he has to rebuild. He uses up some money. And it's one of the ways that ShoWTimE is trading badly in the game, but even then, it's just so cheap to rebuild those interceptors still. Sitting back here, 38 minutes. It's been a long time since I feel like we had a very long game in GO4SC2. We've had this map backwater now, really starting to create a lot of long games though. It's at that stage where people have it so well figured out, they know how to build up into their long games, they know how to get into their strong positions of the game, and once they get into those sort of positions, they just become unkillable. And they just get to this sort of point where the games will naturally go long, because neither player can really kill the other. ShoWTimE is beginning to mine out. Yeah, I say that. 1600 gas remains. It's gonna mine out minerals before gas. It's kind of normal. So this bank is gonna be a bit large, like 8k gas at most. 6k minerals or so. Hydrogen is just picking off a couple of probes here, and we are going to be seeing these few future engines dropping down. I mean, obviously at this stage, Stefano just holding the top right corner of the map, doesn't want to go anywhere, doesn't want to do too much. Stefano obviously wants to hang in here until the very last minutes of this game. Pushing forwards, carriers will find themselves a few of these creep tumors. A bunch of creep tumors going down there. It's always a nice little something. Terrans dropping down, fungal growths coming into play. A lot of fungal growths coming into play at the moment right here. I mean, again, if you can kill enough interceptors, then maybe over time you can drain the bank of ShoWTimE. The fungals are huge against the interceptors. Infested Terrans too do quite a lot of damage. Corruptors try to join the party when they can without actually losing themselves in the fight. ShoWTimE making 13 interceptors at a time at the moment. Fungal Growth hits on the south side. Maybe that's where the Corruptors try and dive into. It's taken us 40 minutes to get to this point of the game, but at the moment it looks as though ShoWTimE just has enough. In terms of what he's lost, by the way, he's only lost 3 carriers and a Tempest. So since he got carriers up on the map, he's barely lost anything. And that's just what's so insanely crazy from him throughout this, as we see pushing forwards. The only thing he's lost is these interceptors again and again. Right now, his interceptor count's kind of low. But they just rebuild so fast. 21 interceptors at a time because he's got 21 carriers. It's just a constant onslaught which you just cannot deal with as the Zerg player. Some neuroparasites will come down, but it's the last of the energy on the infestors. So really, where is this even going? Not really anywhere. ShoWTimE warps in 14 stalkers as well, realizing that he's probably just about broken through this. He doesn't need to keep the money so much for the interceptors any longer, and he can come in here with some of these stalkers to clean this up. The infested Terrans are starting to do quite a bit though. You know what? The interceptors are dead. No way, ShoWTimE. The interceptors are dead, which means the carriers aren't doing a lot, and the infested Terrans at the end of this are actually starting to clean up. Oh my god. Well, 10 High Templar warp in and try and change this, and Stefano will still type out GG. That was a much closer ending than it maybe should have been. Whew. That was a much closer ending than it maybe should have been. GG, ShoWTimE to take us in game. And let's do this. To the bottom right-hand side, the blue Protoss player. This, from Armor Team, is ShoWTimE. And to the top left, our pink Zerg is Stefano from Gamer's Origin. Alright guys, well, we've had a long game here today, and we're still just in the semi-finals of GO4SC2, 4 hours in. Like I was saying before, sometimes you have GO4SC2s end in 3 hours. Today, we're 3 hours and 45 minutes into the tournament, and we are still in the semis, with a best-of-5 final to be played after this. It's a fun day so far. It's a fun day. If you're enjoying the stream, hit that follow button, see when we're going live with more StarCraft content in the future. And don't forget the other ways you can support the channel by subscribing, donating, and cheering. All of it helps me to continue being here, bringing you guys consistent and regular StarCraft 2 action on the stream. Probe comes into the main base and starts to nibble away at just one of these mineral patches. You just have the cyber core coming through, setting up on the front, and waiting just to see how things are going. Sorry, I'm just recovering myself a little bit after the long game number 2 that we just had. It was pretty intense, pretty epic between the two of them. It's a shame though, because sometimes these long games, while they're epic to see and the conclusions are very fun, you kind of have like the 5-10 minutes before the epic conclusion, where the game really is very stalematy and where you really do sit for a while before the final moves are made. And that's just, it's a little bit of a shame, but otherwise, all good as we get ready to game number 3. If he'd spent his bank on Lings, yeah, I wonder what Stefano could have made maybe. If he'd spent his bank on Lings, there's 14 Stalkers and 5 Archons. I think it's enough. Especially the Stalkers have Blink or so. And there's like a carry or 2 alive as well. And a few Interceptors. And ShoWTimE still had mining, right? So I think even still towards the end, I still think it's enough. And then all ShoWTimE needs is like a carrier with a few Interceptors and there's no anti-air left, so. Anyways, we wait to see how this game goes. Obviously the Stargate opening. This time it's going to be a Phoenix early in the game. No Oracle just yet because, well, the Overlords are still to be pushed away. So going to push the Oracles away nice and quickly. Just on the hunt here to see where that Overlord might be initially. And the first Oracle now starts to build. Link speed coming through. Going to be finishing in a moment or so, and we do see that Overlord going to get pushed away. Please don't go on as long as the last game, says ads in the chat. Hashtag pray for Wardy, right? Pray for Wardy. I don't know if I can survive another game. I didn't eat yet today. Usually GO4SC2 is like 4 hours long, so I don't really eat before I do GO4SC2. I just eat afterwards. Today I might have misjudged that one. Today I might have fucked up a bit, guys. I'm not gonna lie. Might have made a bit of a mistake. Well, +1 melee comes in from Stefano on the top side. Just going to be seeing +1 melee is on its way through, and we are going to be having the few Lings just continue to move around here. See what else is happening. So yeah, I just have to tab for a moment here just to check something. God damn it. Sorry. Alright, sorry guys. A couple of Oracles are out on the map and they are moving around to see just what they can get up to. Melee upgrade coming through, Robo Facility Forge and a Twilight Council coming down. A couple of sentries warping in, and we are going to be seeing the third Nexus dropping down in the bottom right hand side all over the map. So third Nexus comes through and we are going to be having this Oracle. Is that a third Oracle? Wow, 3 Oracles. Interesting. I wonder if you can pull the Queens away with these 2 Oracles in the main. And then he can dive in with this Oracle to get some damage done against just the Spore Core. It's actually going to work. That's so cute because he lifts the Queen with this Phoenix. The other Queens have to respond. Now this Oracle's just sat here waiting to strike maybe? Second, that's actually a Spine Crawler coming up. 2 Oracles still stuck in the corner. It feels as though that was a nice idea, but maybe... Okay, now he is going to move in, and now he is going to get some drone kills, so... Third Oracle gets a couple extra kills. It's not a lot, but it's still something that adds up. Queen is slowly making its way to the top left-hand side to fight these 2 Oracles. I wonder if they can fight one Queen on this lower energy and shields, if they're together. Well, this Queen's already kiting to maybe try and make it through, and to shut down this Oracle. It's just not going to find the connection. Wow. Oracles today are like living life on the edge. They really, really are. We've seen so many times these Oracles just... continue to just get away so low or just be picked up with like a super clutch hit. They're living the dangerous life today. They really are. And to the right side as you see Templar Archives coming up. A couple more gateways are building. Immortal, Charge. All on the way through here. A couple of drones going down as the Oracle comes in on the left-hand side. Picks off 4, 5 workers, maybe 6. Oracle goes down, but 6 drones for the third Oracle? That's fine, I think, because these Oracles are still around for the Revelations. Stefano will take a 4th hatchery down the low ground as ShoWTimE. No nonsense this game, you know, straight into Storm, Immortal, you know, going into +1 attack. In the last game on Backwater, we really saw ShoWTimE, I think, poisoned to be what could be, you know, into what could be aggression. As he was warping in a lot of Zealots, he, you know, was going for Archons, he didn't start Immortal production. This game is nothing like that, you know, he is going into Immortals right away, he's going into Storm right away. 4 more workers going down. Stefano's not having a very good start to this game. He's lost 17 workers. As he's killed off. He's lost 17 workers for 2 Adepts and an Oracle. It's a really amazing start from ShoWTimE in terms of damage dealt. As he himself already moves himself up in towards the 4th base. A lot of Lings here ready to attack. Oh, the High Templar don't have Storm yet. Oh, the couple of force fields are absolutely clutch. 1 High Templar and a Sentry will go down. But this could have been so much worse without those force fields here. Stefano is really good at capitalizing on those situations, but ShoWTimE is so good at trying to deflect and to stop things from happening as well. Another group of Banelings currently on the way up. We're just going to be seeing more Zerglings coming over to the right-hand side with these Hydralisks. So Lingbane Hydra again ready to go. Zealots, Immortals, and High Templar pushing forwards up the right-hand side. We do see those Banes. Well, you have to start being very careful about them. The Immortals here, I don't think I like this fight at all for ShoWTimE. It feels as though it's going horrendously wrong. These Lings, Hydras, and everything are just cleaning up all of these units. He's trying to micro an Immortal back. Somehow, a couple of Zealots are left over, and they keep pushing the Hydras away. How on earth does ShoWTimE win that engagement? Not even win the engagement, but just survive the engagement. That's crazy. That's really, really crazy. Well, Zealots, Immortals, and Archons continue to gather together. The High Templar 2 from ShoWTimE. See a lot of units gathering up towards the top side of the map. Hydra's working their way through the rocks to keep on being aggressive here. 68 drones, and Stefano's just like, cool, let's just keep making units. I'm making progress. I'm getting these units low. I'm kind of reducing the kind of Archon count, the Immortal count. And all of this goes a long way to me being able to just keep on making units and keep on attacking here over the next few moments of the game. And let's see if it'll be successful for him. Let's see if his plan will play out. And we do have another couple of Banes moving in. I mean, ShoWTimE jumps on this pretty quickly. The Banes coming forwards are one of the bigger issues. High Templar need to drop Storms where possible, and they're doing a good job of it to at least ward the Hydras off. Now these High Templar almost definitely have to become Archons. One more Storm, kind of just quickly thrown down to do something while also getting the Archon morphin ASAP. I just don't think he hit enough of the Hydras with the Storms, because right now the Hydra number is still very good. They don't go down very quick at all. Another few Banes coming in, so the momentum is still on Stefano's side as he approaches once more. The Banes, they just give him that little bit of extra something, that little bit of extra to maybe break through with the Hydras. But a few Immortals just hang on in there once again, and ShoWTimE pushes it away. But for how long? Now there's going to be +2 melee in this fight. The unit's gathering up again for Stefano. ShoWTimE has to make another defense here in the next couple of moments. And I mean, we're talking about High Templars for Storm ASAP, so he gets the energy up in time. He needs Immortals. He just needs so much. It's going to be difficult to get all of it. Stefano is just unrelentless with this. Relentless with the pressure. Relentless actually means what I was trying to say there. Good guy, Wardy. Sometimes figures out the words. But yeah, he's relentless with this aggression. And I mean, Lings, Hydras, Banes, they're all looking to just push on in to try and take something down. As we see a couple of Archons gathering together, and well, here we go. Banes are going to move forwards with Lings and Hydras as well. First Storm comes down. We're all going to be seeing another couple of Storms as well. Those Banes continue to take a lot of damage. A couple of cannons are firing away, and Immortals are fighting too, and the Lings keep on streaming in. I think Stefano got a lot of momentum early, and maybe it's enough to break on through. Baneling's starting to reach High Templar here, and that's terrifying for ShoWTimE. Even the few of the probes now taking damage, and the Hydra count, I think, is a bit too much. GG, Stefano takes it 2-1. He'll move to the grand finals, giving us a ZVZ finals today.